Happy Bitcoin Pizza Day, you sexy sat stackers! This podcast is for information and entertainment purposes only. Nothing on this podcast should be construed as financial advice. All views expressed on this podcast are solely the opinions of the host and/or any guests that we might have from time to time. Nothing on this podcast should be construed as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or to follow a particular investing strategy. Welcome to a very special episode of the Bitcoin Bulletin podcast. I guess this is kind of a weekend update edition, but it is also the Bitcoin Pizza Day edition. 12 years ago today, a computer programmer from Jacksonville, Florida, made what became widely regarded as the first real-world purchase for Bitcoin. Before we get to that real quick, a look at the vital statistics. At the time of recording, we're sitting at a block height of 737,482. Bitcoin is up a little bit from our Wednesday DCA episode to $30,070 or 3,326 sats per dollar. If you wanted to trade your shiny yellow rocks in for Bitcoin, it's going to cost you 16.2 ounces of gold to buy Bitcoin. That's more than 1 full pound, 16 Spanish doubloons, or 16.2 1-ounce gold coins to buy just a single Bitcoin. Particularly of importance today, 1 Bitcoin will purchase you 1,802 Papa John's pizzas. If you want to buy your oil with Bitcoin, 1 barrel of oil will cost you 374,507 sats per barrel. That's actually down a little bit from last week, even though the US dollar price of Bitcoin is $3, more than $3 a barrel more than it was on Wednesday. The sat price is down. For those that pay attention to this metric, the current market capitalization is $572.7 billion US dollars. And of course, my favorite metric, the 24-hour transaction rate, is down from Wednesday. It's usually down on Sundays. The last Sunday episode was an average transaction rate of 2.62. It was 3.01 on Wednesday, but currently it's zooming along at 2.44 transactions per second. So it is weekend light traffic. And that is not unusual, although, as you know, I like to see a transaction rate above 3 transactions per second on-chain to indicate healthy Bitcoin usage, healthy on-chain activity. The more activity usually indicates that price is doing well or on the way up. We are just now looking at, we're about 374 blocks away from our next mining difficulty increase. That was scheduled to be was targeted to be about the 24th of May. Now it's looking like that's not going to be till May 25th. And currently that is going to be a decrease of 4.4%. We had about a 5% difficulty increase the last adjustment. So basically we're just giving that up. It's basically a wash. And the reason is because blocks are currently averaging 10 minutes and 27 seconds. This difficulty epoch, as you know, the Bitcoin protocol, is designed to try and keep Bitcoin blocks being found on an average of every 10 minutes. Obviously, sometimes they come in just seconds apart. Sometimes they can take an hour. But on average, it's supposed to work out to 10 minutes on average each difficulty epoch. And right now we're taking about 10 minutes and 27 seconds. And that's going to result in about a 4.4% decrease in 374 blocks. The mempool is not particularly jammed up. There were 5 blocks worth of transactions pending to clear when we did our DCA episode on Wednesday, compared to 125 blocks to clear a week before that. Right now, there's only 2 blocks clogging up the mempool. 3,374 transactions are pending, and as a result, the forecast to guarantee your transaction will be included in the next block is down a little bit. It's saying it's going to take a minimum of 15 sats per byte to guarantee that you're in the next block, although 1 sat per byte transactions have been clearing, and it says 1 sat per byte transactions will still clear within a day. We had peaked at about 19 sats per byte about 2 weeks ago. So down a little bit, but certainly more expensive than it had been. All right. Well, like I said, today is Bitcoin Pizza Day. And for those of you who do not know what Bitcoin Pizza Day is, well, Bitcoin Pizza Day is a celebration of what has commonly become believed to be the first real-world transaction paid for with Bitcoin. On May 22nd, 2010, a computer programmer from Jacksonville, Florida, named Laszlo basically made an arrangement where he purchased 2 large Papa John's pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoin. Now, while this was not a direct purchase made by Laszlo, what happened is he posted on the Bitcoin Talk forum and said that he wanted to make a transaction for pizzas and he wanted to pay in Bitcoin, and someone took him up on that. I believe it was a person from England, and they actually called the Papa John's location in Jacksonville, Florida, paid with a credit card, had the 2 pizzas delivered to Laszlo, and then Laszlo sent him the 10,000 Bitcoin. And while that is a little bit wonky, that was the first time, at least the first time it's been recorded, that someone actually purchased something, a real world good, for Bitcoin. And today is the 12th anniversary of that, and that is why we celebrate Bitcoin Pizza Day. Just for those of you wondering, back in 2010, that was about 200 blocks worth of Bitcoin mining reward, those 10,000 Bitcoin. So Laszlo did spend a boatload of Bitcoin, but he's also credited with inventing GPU mining, or at least being one of the first people to use GPU mining, and there were not a whole lot of miners at the time. Bitcoin was only a year old, less than a year old. Hopefully he didn't spend all his Bitcoin, and he's doing quite well, I am sure. That being said, the first thing that comes to mind when people think about Bitcoin Pizza Day and Laszlo's 10,000 Bitcoin purchase is the value of those Bitcoin today, and the regret that you would be feeling had you spent that kind of coin on just 2 pizzas. And 10,000 Bitcoin at this very moment would be worth $300,700,000. So those certainly are 2 very expensive pizzas. But again, as people want to remind, that had Laszlo not made that purchase, Bitcoin might not have any value. So it's kind of a Schrodinger's pizza sort of situation. Would those Bitcoin be worth $300 million today had it not been for Laszlo, or would they be worth nothing or somewhere in between? Either way, I've also heard it estimated that was approximately 15 days worth of GPU mining at the time. So unless Laszlo only mined for 15 days and then never mined again, it was not all of his Bitcoin. So as I said before, I'm sure he's doing quite well. So we're going to celebrate tonight, just like millions of other Bitcoiners, by ordering 2 large Papa John's pizzas and paying for them with Bitcoin. And of course, if you're like me, you don't want to dip into your stack to purchase your pizza. So while it is important to stimulate the Bitcoin economy and to celebrate this properly by spending Bitcoin on those pizzas, there are a number of ways you can do so without actually depleting your stack. Of course, the easiest way is probably just spend and replace. Maybe not the easiest for when it comes to tax reporting purposes, although some of you might be able to actually harvest a loss here and spend some of that Bitcoin you bought at a higher price when it was closer to 69,000, not financial advice, and then immediately turn around and buy that Bitcoin back so that you don't deplete your stack. There are other ways, such as you can pay a Lightning invoice with the Strike app, and that is what we're going to do. Strike app it's pretty neat because I can load money from my debit card onto the Strike app and pay someone Bitcoin or pay someone over the Lightning Network. And I'm actually not spending my Bitcoin. It's going to take the US dollars out of my account in the exact amount I owe them. And then the receiver is going to get Bitcoin or Lightning Bitcoin, and they're not going to know the difference. And you're going to have spent Bitcoin. You're going to have moved Bitcoin around in the circular economy and not have touched your stack. And perhaps as importantly, or even more importantly, because we didn't actually there was never a buy and a sell as far as the IRS is concerned on my end. I spent US dollars, or will be spending US dollars, so there's no tax consequences, at least as of this moment, for paying via Strike. And if you don't have the Strike app, You can help support the podcast by clicking on the referral code in the show notes. If you sign up for the Strike app and use the referral code in the show notes, you'll get $10 free for signing up for Strike, and we'll get $10 as well. And that will help us out. And it will help out the Bitcoin economy because you will be able to spend Bitcoin on your pizza tonight. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to keep this short and sweet. There is news out there, but nothing earth-shattering going on. We're kind of waiting to see what the markets do on Monday. Obviously, if you've been following the news, the stock markets have been absolutely wrecked. I think they said that it's the longest losing streak for the tech stocks since the dot-com bubble burst, and it's the longest losing streak for retailer stocks since the stock market crash of 1987. Bitcoin and everything else has been going down, and if we get some more bad news next week, it wouldn't be unreasonable to assume the market will tank, and Bitcoin will probably follow as well if we get some good news, because I think retailers like Dollar General, which is expected to be doing really well in a recession, and Costco, which is expected to be doing really well when people are trying to save money or buy in bulk, maybe they'll report some positive earnings. Who knows? This isn't a stock market show, and so we're just kind of holding in there, and we're adding to our stack. As far as I'm concerned, the only thing that's more important is that I end today with more Bitcoin than I started with. And we're going to do that for two reasons. A, because I'm going to buy the dip and pick up some Bitcoin, and because I am going to use Strike to pay for my Bitcoin pizza. Other than that, we will see you sexy sat stackers on Wednesday, and that is because, as you know, on every Wednesday we do a recap of the news, and then we add to our Bitcoin DCA stack. So until then, keep on stacking those sats, you sexy sat stackers, and enjoy that pizza.